Hello, good to see you back. Wonderful. Wonderful. You're looking pretty good.
Okay, we've got one.
Good to see you, both of you. How you doing, okay?
Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a little bit of a different service today than what we normally have. And we'll go into some of those details in a moment. But we're going to go ahead and light our chalice now. And where is Anita? Who's going to, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking all around you, sorry. Here you go.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. With the kind of week that we've had, I think we could all use a little moment of peace. So if you just want to take a deep breath along with me and let everything go just for a minute. And Vincent van Gogh reminds us that there is peace even in the middle of a storm. And maybe you can find peace in being here today in fellowship with our community. Thank you. My voice doesn't carry very well. Thank you. Or maybe you can find peace in the sense of community you had in your neighborhood this week. I know I certainly can, with a lot of unconditional love. Or maybe you can find peace in the fact that I know that some of you gave back to your communities this week. Maybe you can just find peace in the sense of the serenity of letting go and knowing there's only so much that you can control. Also, there's another storm coming up, and I've had a taste of that recently, and that's our elections. So I've had a taste of some of the anger that goes along with that. Getting some smiles there. And so I want to speak to the anger that comes along with those, those political differences. Leo Tolstoy suggests that everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. And Paul Tillich, Derek, one of my favorite philosophers, right? We talked about that. He has a suggestion for a different response for us instead of that anger. So I want to read you his description of agape love. The greatness of agape love is it accepts and tolerates the other person, even if he's unacceptable to us, and we can barely tolerate him. Its aim is a union that is more than a union on the basis of sympathy or friendship, a union even in spite of enmity. Loving one's enemies is not sentimentality. The enemy remains an enemy. In spite of this, he is not only acknowledged as a person, he is united with me in something that is above him and me, the ultimate ground of being in each of us. So I leave you in that mindset of peace and unconditional love.
And if you will join me in our chalice lighting. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. And we light this chalice for the harmony of peace. And the whimsical duo is going to provide some music for us now.
Tried to find some songs for today that would apply to recent past, and a couple of them have water in them.
No more, please.
And also, friends helping friends
Good.
and others.
And I borrowed Ernie's guitar this morning.
So he's here too. Sing as you want to. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, you need a friend. I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind.
And now we're going to do a reading 440 from the Fragmented World. And we will do this responsibly. Responsibly. And responsibly. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness. By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves. Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all. We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have come before us. We hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false. We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy. Let us labor and hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice. Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the lives of the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way. In this spirit we we gather. In this spirit, we pray. Now we're going to talk about joys and sorrows, of which there are many this week. I want to start with two joys. First, we had a birthday on Thursday. Is that right? So Becky had a birthday on Thursday. Yay. Happy birthday. And we have a birthday tomorrow. Tom's birthday is tomorrow. So, who else would like to share some joys or sorrows? Okay, Becky. Nobody?
Dear Helene, we already have wars and plenty of destruction and loss. You were a surprise to Western North Carolina, where we don't know hurricanes and tremendous floods very well. I know you just went where conditions were right for you. What is your lesson? To burn less fuel, to love the present day, to care for your neighbors less fortunate. The grief of loss and gratitude for life can live side by side in our hearts. Fate is sometimes random and can't be explained or understood, but needs to be accepted. All at once, I'm sad for so much loss. I'm inspired by generosity. I'm grateful for our good fortune. Signed, Becky. Yeah. I'm happy that we have power back. I feel very spoiled and very lucky compared to so many people. And just hope we can learn something from it, even though we can't control everything in the future.
I have a joy in spite of this storm and all that's been going on. The Sunday after the storm hit all of us, I'm walking back from my neighbor's to ask him how is he going to get gas for his generator. And I had enough for probably 3 or 4 days, but obviously not for the length that we all had to last. So I'm walking back, and these two people are in the middle of the road with a black dog saying hello to me. I had no clue who it was. As I got closer, they're saying, Dad, don't you know who we are? Well, my son and his significant other live in Charlotte. He got up early in the morning, bought 2 5-gallon cans for gas, went to Whole Foods, got food, and arrived on our doorstep. So we had plenty of gas to run the generators, and we turned out it was all okay.
Wow.
So there is a blessing in having children. Here, Ian.
So among the birthday celebrations, I have to point to Leo, who turned double digits on September 27th.
Young man, here you go.
Thank you. We live in a small community called Campobello, South Carolina, and even though we don't live in the city limits, we live in the county, I guess. However, on Saturday, I have to really compliment the mayor and the councilman of our little community of a population of about 550. They had orchestrated a mobile hotspot and making it available for free to anyone who was driving by or needed internet service and telephone Wi-Fi. And then they established a water distribution. So the mayor was there were council people. So I really have to say, kudos to those folks. They did a great job, and I look forward to continuing to serve the community. So thank you. to Campobello.
I'd like to thank everyone for welcoming me. I saw, I guess, and I'm going to be moving back to Houston soon. I don't know when, but hopefully I'll find a church. It's a big city, so I'm sure there's a UU church in Houston or two. And I'm a Houston native, so no hurricanes there. So I'd just like to thank everyone for welcoming me and I've been here.
I have a request. I know it's important to vote. Everybody else knows it's important to vote. However, I have postcards. I've got 25 left. I am sending out 100 postcards, but I have 25 left. If people will help me to take the names. These are people in Ohio that need some impetus to get out and vote. So if you will help me, unfortunately you'll have to pay the postage on the postcards. I think it's like 57 cents. But if you can help me with the 25, I would greatly appreciate it. Come see me after. Thanks.
I just have a short announcement for those men that come to the men's group or anybody who's interested in coming. I did talk to Derek just before the service about this, but I did take a liberty without talking to anybody or asking anybody any questions. We have a reservation at the Polk County Library the first Tuesday of each month through January at 10 o'clock. Now, we can change that, obviously, to another time or another space. But in talking with Derek, maybe it's a good idea to just be there this first Tuesday in November at 10 o'clock. Polk County Library, the community room is the first door on the left as you go in.
You said November.
November.
Not October.
I have it reserved for November, December, and January, but we can change that. But right now, let's look at November, the first Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock, Polk County Community Library, which is easy to find, basically the first left after the hospital, if you're coming from 126.
Thank you.
Barbara?
I would just like to impress on everyone how wonderful our local agencies can be. A tree went on my house. The little gal from Foothills Humane Society drove up into my driveway and said, "Get out of there, come on," and hauled me off to the motel and put me up. I've been in the motel ever since. Outreach has provided food and clothing. Everything I've got on today is outreach. Donna Wood and Jeremy Wood of SCNC Realty have come and provided a hot meal every day to me and to another resident of the current resident of the motel. It has been interesting to see. Most of the motel is taken up by workers, clearing the area and working on the power lines and so on and so forth. And they leave before 6 in the morning and they don't get back until 7 or 7:30 at night. And then they let loose. They need it. And they also share some few tidbits with us. And it is not good, folks. So anything you can do, any words you can add, do so. Now is the time.
If you'll join me, please. We rejoice together and we grieve together as one. Help us to remember that every human heart holds its own joys and sorrows. Okay. Obviously, Ernie is not here today. So let me give you an update on him and tell you what we're going to do for the rest of the service. First of all, Ernie does not have power or water at this point, and it'll probably be at least 3 weeks before he gets water. But he does expect that he will have power this week. He and Diane and Ryan have gone to Wilmington. They have a friend in Wilmington who had an Airbnb, and they offered that to Ernie and his family. So they've gone to Wilmington so that they will have the appropriate resources. Tom and I have talked to Ernie a couple of times, and he's doing well. He's enjoying his stay in Wilmington, but he does want to get back to Asheville as quickly as he can. He has a neighbor that is keeping an eye on his home and will let him know when the power is back on. So that's why we're not doing a regular service today. I need to apologize to everybody in here because on September 26th, I think it was Thursday, Don sent out an email and mentioned that if anybody had any storm issues or storm damage to call me and let me know, and we would start marshaling people to assist. Well, little did I know that on 6 a.m. on the 27th, I would lose my power, I would lose my cell phone, I would lose my internet, and we still do not have power back on in our house. Maybe today, we have our fingers crossed because the utility trucks were working on our road when we left. And I just got my cell phone back, cell service back Friday night, and it's still a little spotty. So if you try to reach out to me to let me know that you have a problem and I haven't responded, it's because I haven't been able to get any messages, and I'm really, really sorry about that. So I guess we're going to have to look for Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C with that as we move forward. But what we wanted to do today was to find out, does anybody have issues that they need assistance with, talk about what are some of the resources that are going on in the community that any of us may be able to participate in, and move forward. Hopefully for our next service, Ernie will be here, and I know that Ian and Annie had been on tap for last week, which we didn't have a service last week because there was no power here. So we will, if it's okay with y'all, we'll put y'all on hold till our next 5th service to hear your stories about the next 5th service, which I think is in December, I think is our next 5th Sunday. Okay. December, yes. Okay, so if we could put that on hold, or depending on what Ernie's situation is, you may need to be on standby for our next service, but our communications should be more efficient then. Now, as we move forward to kind of talk about resources and talk about needs, the first thing I want to mention is Don and I and Tom and Lane's phone numbers have been used over the past couple of weeks to text people. If you did not get a text about the service today or the service last week being canceled, I'm going to put this on Don. Check with him to make sure that he has your current cell number so that we can communicate, because like with this situation, we couldn't send out emails because people didn't have power and didn't have internet to be able to get emails. So that's why we were trying to text. So you may have gotten a text from a number you didn't recognize, and that would have been Lane's number or Tom's number. You probably recognize Don's number. So there have been a lot of water distribution centers set up. For those of you in upstate South Carolina that are on the Inman-Campobello water service, our water went out on Friday the 27th and was out for 3 days because there was a major water line break underneath the Packlet River, so it took them a while to get to that and get the water back on. So they set up multiple water distribution centers. This past week, Tom and Lane and I went to every water distribution center and got water with the intention of taking it to Ernie. Since he's in Wilmington right now, we have water. It's in a vehicle out here in the parking lot. So if anyone in this group does not have water, we have some cases of water available, so you can get those from us. Whatever is left, we will take to Ernie when he gets back to Asheville, because we know for sure that he's going to need bottled water for a while. Let's see. Now I'd like to know, does anybody in the group need any assistance with anything at this time? Trees on your house, trees in your yard. Do you need information on shelters, on where to get hot meals, on where to get hot showers? Or to get assistance from FEMA, thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Well, those of us in Tryon Estates finally got our power a couple of days ago.
Okay, great. All right, so Tryon Estates has power now, so
I got
good.
tired of sitting in the hall watching the lights out in the hall.
Yeah.
Just for your information, FEMA has an office, not at the equestrian center, what we were originally told. But they have set up an office at Polk County High School. So they're there. Go in and make your applications if you need to. They're very, very helpful. And I think a lot of us are going to need it.
Speaking of FEMA, South Carolina is lacking some information about availability. Does anyone know if in fact there's FEMA offices in South Carolina, in the upstate area, that anyone who needs their assistance can apply to? I'm not aware of any FEMA in the general area of upstate South Carolina. Sue?
I was over at First Baptist Church yesterday morning. They've been doing meals and sheltering and feeding the workers too. They have FEMA forms, so somebody over there has been in contact with somebody in FEMA. In Greenville County, they seem a little more organized than Spartanburg County, and I've seen a little bit that they've had FEMA set up tents somewhere, but I don't know what the deal is with that. Yeah, it seems like North Carolina's a little more organized.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I was over at the farmer's market yesterday, and the inside of that building, if anybody needs supplies, they've got canned goods, paper towels, toilet paper, hygiene products and whatnot, and they'll be opening again tomorrow morning. I think it's 9 to 6, and we're also palletizing things and sending pallets up to North Carolina, but they have supplies for local people too. We had people come down on Skype yesterday. It's sad.
Yes, there is a shelter at Landrum First Baptist Church. There's a shelter at Campobello First Baptist Church in South Carolina. I mentioned earlier that I know some mobile hotspots have been set up. There's one in Campobello right on 176. I think there's one in Landrum by the fire department, I think is where they've set that up. It's my understanding there's some in Tryon and Saluda, but I do not know the locations. Somebody else may know that. Does anybody know?
Excuse me, the location at the Landrum Fire Department was removed. It was Verizon, but it's now gone. The town of Tryon has a catering facility called Huckleberries that has free Wi-Fi, free coffee, and they've been doing that through the duration of all the troubles that happened last week. The town of Tryon Town Hall, I think it's probably closed today, but they've been terrific in distributing food, water, information. They have someone manning it from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We don't have any phone service or Wi-Fi at our house, and we've gone to Columbus, right outside of the DMV office. It's perfect for your phone. We got 4 bars, so it's terrific. Also, the county courthouse has service available in the public library, which I talked about for the men's meeting. Polk County Public Library has 24/7 Wi-Fi. Obviously, during their business hours, you could go in and sit down, and we did that yesterday. What else?
Food line.
Trade Street Cafe in Tryon. The second and third and fourth day after the storm did have free coffee, free hot showers, and a setup for phone and Wi-Fi. They no longer do now. The husband of the owner there, unfortunately, had a bad back operation, and he's in a little bit of debilitated state. So anyway, what else? I'm not sure about Saluda. Is anybody from Saluda here? I don't think so.
I do know in Landrum, Main Street has power. Here in the Hammond had a generator, so they were doing food all last week. But Sulisa's is opening back up on Tuesday. Let's see. Yeah, Cardinal Coffee on Tuesday. For coffee only. Food starting on Wednesday. If you're looking for something different, if you've been eating the same stuff for 10 days now, everything in Boiling Springs is open. So if you get on Highway 9 and go down towards Boiling Springs, all the restaurants down there, at least until you get to the Walmart area, all those places are open a little bit further on down. We were down that way earlier in the week, and some places a little bit further down on 9 towards Spartanburg did not have power yet, but I think that they're probably up and operating at this point. So they do have food down that way. Let's see, what else we wanted to talk about. And they had been serving meals at Landon First Baptist Church at 5 o'clock every day, so you could go by there. Barbara, hold on a minute.
The Red Cross has a center at Polk County High School, and they have 3 meals a day. Anybody can walk in. They're doing a really good job. The early morning breakfast sometimes is really good, and sometimes it's grab and go. But they do and hot coffee, freshly brewed.
That's very important because we've put our coffee pot on the generator every day.
Exactly.
I have 2 announcements. One, I have a generator if anybody still needs electricity. It's a pretty good size one. It will run the water pumps and a stove or something like that. And also, if anybody has roof damage that needs work, I have a good roofer.
Great. Thank you. That's fine.
Almost everything in Tryon is open now. There's a few different things. This might sound a little bit disjointed as it comes to mind, but most of everything is open. We were really pleased, I live in Tryon, we were really pleased that the places that had food and could get a generator did open for as long as they could. They used up their food, they cooked it on the street and gave it away free. And they got rid of things like the Trade Street Creamery that you were talking about, then they closed up. But there's a couple things. Oh, IGA and Food Line, IGA in Tryon and Food Line in Columbus are open and fully stocked. So there really isn't any reason, if you have a car and cash, there's no reason that you have to go and get MREs or anything or go to the Red Cross. You can buy your food now, as long as you can cook it. But they have a lot of bread and things like that. And then really important to me is that I had a double-digit birthday last month. I'm 77.
Good for you.
And the other thing that I would add is that, of course, rumors and all kinds of conversation have been going on. I drive the streets every day and talk to everybody that I can talk to. So a lot of you know a lot of the stories, the horrid ones and the good ones. I have heard nothing but good stories about FEMA, about the National Guard, we had a state trooper that came to look for somebody in our building, and we talked to him, and there's just all kinds of really great people out there, besides, of course, we citizens. So it's been rather uplifting in a way.
Yep.
Yeah.
In response to everyone's discussion about FEMA, Red Cross, National Guard, and all of our wonderful neighbors who have helped us, excuse me. Now that I do have phone service after a week, it's amazing to me. And I've also heard it from my, especially my Louisiana daughter. And there's so much misinformation coming across now about how FEMA is not being responsive, how the Red Cross, or, you know, that they're not serving, they're diminishing. And actually, that adds more sorrow on top of the grief that we're already feeling. And I just caution us all to let everyone know that we truly, through the people and the resources, are getting as what we can when we can. And the reason they're having so much difficulty rescuing people is that I'm headed to Yancey County as far as I can because I haven't heard from my parents. I know they're safe because my niece tells me that, but part of that county, as well as other places in western North Carolina, are devastated, and it's just sorrowful. And I think we need to let everyone know to speak up and say, people, FEMA, Red Cross, National Guard, North Carolina is responding to our needs as quickly as they can.
Yes.
Good point.
On that note, I also wanted to let you know that we went to Tryon Equestrian Center. My daughter lives in Boston. She hasn't had power or water. They put her up there. They have a lot of those small, they call them condominium cabins. And so they have, I don't know how many, 50. They put lots of people up free. And also, just as a note, World Central Kitchen is there. That's one of the people that we sponsor. So World Central Kitchen is there, cooking hot meals on site daily. And they're also water distribution in the site for different needs. I just wanted to let you know locally that that's a good thing that's happening too.
You stole my thunder because I was going to mention World Central Kitchen. If y'all remember, we did a donation as a fellowship to World Central Kitchen last year. So we know that our support of them is supporting our community. And I'm also surprised that Janice didn't mention pet needs. So I'm sure that that some of the distribution centers like the farmers market and places like that, they probably need some pet food.
Yeah, there was one bag of dog food that came yesterday and no other pet supplies.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I live in a different county, but Heart of the Foothills, which is the place that I volunteer and sponsor, and that is in Rutherford County. They went to different neighborhoods giving out food, dog and cat food, and they also, they were lucky enough to get a donation from, I think, Foothills Animal Center. So they were able to pass it on. And when they get big bags, they take them and tear them down into 10-pound bags, distribute it in the community. They're also distributing it in the shelter. So I know a lot of places. I also went to a doctor's appointment, which I was surprised that they actually were open, but I noticed they had a desk. The desk had pet supplies underneath, and they also had hygiene supplies and some snacks for people just to take. So I think a lot of people, if you look, maybe, you know, they are including pets in their distribution.
I just wanted, she mentioned that the hills.
Okay. Anything else we need to talk about with resources, needs? There are a couple of other points that I want to mention. moving away from Helene issues. One is that the women's group has formed, and we now have a permanent home for that. And Don, I think Robin will probably be in touch with you to put this in the newsletter, but it's going to be meeting at the Landrum Library. And Anita and Jeannie, you may need to help me with the next date.
October 16th.
October 16th, okay. But we'll double check all of those details with Robin. But I think the time is going to change a little bit, to go a little bit later in the afternoon, because based on the library's availability, so we might be starting at 3 instead of 2. But we'll confirm that with Robin and get that in the newsletter when you get that out. Also, yes?
The key phrase there is, when you get that out, I don't have power. So it may or may not be on time this week.
Okay, well, I think we can make an exception. And we have new directories. So if you need a directory, if you want to come check with me at the end of the service, they are right here. Thank you very much, Don, for all your efforts with that.
I mentioned this once before, but trying to put this directory together, and Kathy Fisher knows this, she put one together some time back. It's like herding cats to get all the information. So this is a temporary thing. We'll do it again at the beginning of the year. I'll try to get everybody's email right and phone numbers correct, etc. So just let me know if there's something in there that is not right, and I'll try to make sure we edit the new one correctly.
And I think maybe our next version, we want to try to get pictures.
Oh, if you can help me.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is something personally related to me. Anybody who lives in South Carolina, if you would like to be a poll worker for the upcoming election, let me know. I'm going to be managing the poll at Greater St. James Church, which is in Inman. I still need 2 more volunteers. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll tell you what you have to do to get moving with that. I've already recruited Anita, so she's going to be joining me at Greater St. James. So I think that's everything I had on my list, except that I was very remiss at the beginning of this discussion. Do we have any visitors that we need to introduce? I knew you were.
Hi. Well, it seems somewhat inappropriate to call attention to myself when so many people are going through so many hard times. But my name is Jimmy Byrne, and I recently moved here, which is right down the road, about 2 months ago with my family, and from Carbondale, Colorado. So I was a part of a Unitarian Universalist group there, and in fact I was the music director for 14 years. So it's with joy that we've arrived for a new chapter in our life. Joy that we can have the opportunity to engage in something really new. But it's with sorrow that we left our beautiful home in town in Colorado. So my boys are not very happy about that, and my wife is. We are happy to be closer to family, and we love the rolling hills and the friends that we have met here. My wife is very joyful about engaging in Catholicism. She's over the past couple of years become a devout Christian, and so we also have that sorrow in our family that we have to. No, it's not funny. I mean, it's a challenge, and I'm not sorry for her. I mean it that she has needed something, and she has found. So my son is at home. He refused to go with me or with her. My other son's in college, And it's a very unique challenge, and I think I'm learning a lot from it. I've always been a person of an open mind, and I want to support that opportunity for other people. So I think that's really important to stand in a position where we don't discourage other people from finding their truth. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for that warmth about the music. I am open to playing music, but I'm not ready to engage, and I loved your first song, so thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you. We're so glad that you're here. And there's a reason we all laughed. Annie's been our pianist for many years, but she is wanting to back away from that. So we've been trying to find someone to kind of fill that spot or to create additional music for us. So if you decide you want to keep coming, we have a role for you.
Don't chase him away.
Yeah. Done.
I just want to mention something that the tourist area in Asheville, one of the biggest draws is the River Arts District. I visited that last week. My wife had a display in Marquee, which is a giant warehouse full of artists and exhibitors of different kinds. It is no more. The River Arts District is no more. It's stunning. And I was in the remnants of the building that the walls gave away. The French Broad reached the rafters and just tore the inside up. There's just nothing left. Chimney Rock is much the same. Anything on the riverside of Main Street in Chimney Rock is just gone. So I'm not making light of the fact that we have trees down and damage to our property, but there's some communities around here that are just devastated beyond your recognition. And I thought I would mention that to be a reminder.
Thank you. Yes, when I've been inclined to want to complain about going on day 10 without power, I think about I have my home and it came through unscathed, so I need not to complain about anything. Also, just to let y'all know, I have reached out to Nan Covert to see how she's doing, and I did not, I was not able to reach her. So if we hear from her, I'll certainly let everybody know, because for those of you who don't know, she lives in the Lake Lure area. So, anything else? Yes.
Reflection of Don's comments. Yesterday, my wife and 2 daughters went up to Asheville to volunteer and do work up there. I don't know what organization she was a part of. He did mention one of this disturbing news of this tension that existed between some of the groups and FEMA and National Guard. It didn't seem from her opinion that they were working together, but in fact had this antagonism, which is, as you said, adding to our sorrows. But nonetheless, I think there is plenty of work to be done in serving our neighbors, and if anyone's interested, I can get that information for you.
Just as a quick note, Harmon Field is closed, so those who like to walk their dogs like my wife and I do, can't do it for quite a while, got really wiped out very badly. And that screened-in porch that we had a variety of gatherings at, gone. And the gazebo next to the shelter that we had some times at, that's all rocked over. The boardwalk behind the log cabin ended up down at the basketball court. The river is probably, used to be what, 40, 50 feet wide? I don't want to say how wide it is now. The water reached almost all the way to the art school. Just sort of got to the bottom of the hill there. So it's quite a mess, and they've cordoned it off and they've asked nobody to go there. And just as an aside, that covers all damaged areas. Tourism, we don't need the people crawling and walking and looking and stuff and getting in the way of the people trying to do their jobs.
How was the log cabin? Is it still there? Richard?
What?
The log cabin that was right next to
It's
that?
still there, but I believe it was flooded because the water came up above the entryway there, so I didn't go in it.
But you can't go there to vote.
What's that?
Can't go there to vote.
All right, anything
I don't
else
think so.
we need to
Not sure.
discuss?
We'll find out.
Okay. We are going to do an offertory in just a minute. However, 100% of the offertory today will go to relief efforts. We're not going to be taking any of that for the fellowship, so I would like to let you know that. I think Thermal Belt Outreach, since it serves the local community, I think we had some discussion about doing World Central Kitchen also, but I think Thermal Belt Outreach really, really serves our community. So we will do the offertory, and we're going to have some offertory music again from our whimsical duo.
Another one that has a little rain in it. But it's a positive message, right? Try to get a little bit of singing in before the people come back with the money in the basket. Here you go, Derek. It's on the welcome table. So you've got a friend. We're doing a couple verses. When you're down in trouble. Sorry, I'm not in a different key. When you're down in trouble and you need someone to care, and nothing's going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there, brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. Above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow. Take your hands together and call my name out loud, and soon I'll be knocking on your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there.
you'll join me. To the work of this fellowship, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. And now we will have our last song. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's supposed to be an upbeat song.
This is upbeat after the.
Just I thought that is.
So, let's hear strong voices on this one. There's a dark and troubled side of life to me. On the bright and sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, sunny side we also may view. Keep on sunny side, always on sunny side. Keep on sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. Keep on the sunny side of life. Now let's storm and fury broke today. Rushing hopes that we cherish so deep. Now the storms will in time pass away. The sun again will shine bright and clear. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. Keep on the sunny side of life. Yeah?
Look at us, where are we on this song? Don't look at each other.
Thank you, Becky and Derek, for doing that on short notice, because we talked when Thursday, I think, on your birthday. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Sorry we didn't get an Ernie message, because they're always so uplifting, and we leave feeling positive to go out for the next 2 weeks and tackle the world. But I do think today has been very productive to talk with everyone and find out needs and find out what's available to all of us. So thank you so much for being here. And now we will extinguish the chalice.
Thank you, Alisa.
Thank you, Alisa.
Yeah, really, great job.
And if you'll join me, we extinguish the flame of this chalice. Let us follow the light of truth until we meet again.